Hello and welcome to Georgia Bulldogs Live here on the Georgia Voice of College Football. I'm your host, Matt Green. My co-host over there, Bo Underwood. How you doing today, sir?
Good, Matt. How are you?
Excellent, man. Excellent. It's been about a week since we last spoke. The standard. I did get a chance to watch the first episode of that every given Saturday. Is that any given Saturday?
Any given Saturday.
Any given Saturday. Have you watched it at all yet?
No, I haven't seen it. I haven't started watching it yet. You just reminded me that I need to get on that.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I kind of feel like if you've seen one of those shows, you kind of seen them all. But I don't know, maybe I just like the SEC the most. So it's like, because as we're watching it, my wife is like, I am the exact target demo for this. Because she's someone who's like, I've gotten into sports, but not to stereotype women or anything, but she likes kind of the human interest side of the sport, know? So it's like, it's kind of, I'm like, I've seen this. I know some of these traditions, but it's still cool. Like Shane Beamer and Brian Kelly are really like the featured ones in the first episode. And again, that South Carolina LSU game was like maybe the game of the year in college football last year, even if I don't know, South Carolina got robbed with that roughing the passer. And I mean, because what was that? That was like 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. Yeah, they should have put them up like 11.
Yeah, it would have ended the game.
Instead, or up 10, I think. And then instead they have first down at like their own 10-yard line, go 3 and out. And then LSU just comes back down and drives. What's interesting is they didn't really get into the controversy of it, which I kind of expected. I don't know. Maybe I don't remember. I don't know if Shane Beamer like called out the refs or something or anything, but I feel like it was like a really controversial ending and they didn't really address it at all. Maybe it's like, that's not what we're here to do.
Yeah, I guess they kind of can't criticize their officials too much on the Netflix show because that was a rough ending for the officials.
For sure, but it's a cool show. So I'm definitely I can't imagine. I'm thinking like going to school for like doing video broadcast classes and shit, Like I can't imagine how much footage they have of like 12 different schools or however many participate. Is it everyone but Georgia and Alabama that are participating in it?
I think it's
So I just can't imagine the thousands of hours of footage they must have and of all the different teams. But yeah, it looked pretty good so far.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out, man. I mean, it's a crazy cool. It's a cool idea for a show. Just the F1 show or the quarterback show. Just make it SEC. Like I'll watch that.
Yeah, exactly. It just means more.
It just means more.
It just means more. So, sir, we are coming to you on Mondays at 7:00. The new show time for the foreseeable future. So I appreciate everyone who's tuning in, who's watching live. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. We are 19 days till college football season, sir. And number 19 was a tough one, man. It's one of the better numbers in history for Georgia. But I got to go with recency bias, the greatest tight end of all time, Brock Bowers.
Yeah, I think that's where you have to start, right? Come on, man. It's Brock freaking Bowers.
I will say, just to give the old heads some credit, Scott Warner, College Football Hall of Famer.
Great player. Very great.
Is he the father or is he the uncle of Charlie Warner?
I think he might be. I think it's his uncle.
Okay. So yeah, Scott Warner, big time College Football Hall of Famer, corner, kick returner on that 1980 national championship team. One of my first favorite Georgia players growing up, Hines Ward. Like Champ Bailey and Hines Ward were like probably the first 2 Georgia players that I would just like. Those were my guys, Hines Ward was just incredible. Yeah, do you remember? Do you have anything to say, Hines Ward?
No, it's just a stacked jersey number. I forgot that was Hines Ward. I think it's so crazy that he got to Georgia as a quarterback and then becomes a Hall of Fame NFL wide receiver. What a legend.
For real. And like, I would say no one has a bad thing to say about Hines Ward, but obviously with those rivalries in the NFC North, I'm sure Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals fans have a lot to say about him. Yeah. But it's like everyone respects Hines Ward.
Yeah, absolutely. He's
Do you
reputation as
remember
the best blocker of all time, that receiver.
Yeah, for real. And everyone just respects a receiver who's going to be like that tough.
Yeah.
Do you remember Big Charles Grant?
No, I don't.
Have you ever heard of Charles Grant?
Charles Grant. I don't think I have.
Dude, oh man, I wish I had his stats up in front of me. So Charles Grant, first round pick of the Saints, like 2002. I want to say he was on Rick's first team, if I'm correct. This says 99, because he came in as a running back. So this dude is listed. What is he listed at in his he doesn't, I guess the college football reference doesn't go back to 99, I guess, or 2000. But he's listed at 6'3", 285. And this dude was a running back coming out of high school. Like big number 19. I can't remember where he is. Where is he from? Colquitt, Georgia. So I don't know. Is he Colquitt County? No, Miller County High School, and then a year at Hargrave Military Academy. But Charles Grant was an absolute beast. He had 17 carries for 79 yards and 3 touchdowns in 99. So he was actually legit playing running back at Georgia as like a 260, 270 pounder, like, or maybe he's like 250 at that time. I don't know, but he was huge. And then so his first year was 2002. So yeah, he was on Rick's first team, but first round pick to the Saints. He played like 8 years in the league. I think he was on that Super Bowl winning team. I don't think he ever made a Pro Bowl or anything, but Charles Grant was like an insane athlete. Like he obviously ended up playing defensive end because I think he tore his ACL playing running back as a freshman. But I would have loved to have seen like this just monster dude play.
He tore his ACL and changed positions to defensive end.
Yeah, and then he was what was he, the 20 something? I think it said it. 25th pick of the draft in 2002. Yeah, like this dude was a freak.
He tore his ACL and moved to defensive end and then became a first round pick.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of this guy. No, I don't.
In fairness, yeah, and they always called him Big Charles Grant. I don't know if that was like a high school thing, but I just remember like Big Charles Grant. Like that's what everyone always called him. But yeah, I think there was like a both sides like to him coming out of high school. It's like you probably looked at him, you're like, he's a defensive lineman, but you saw him run the ball. It's like, yeah, we'll let you run the ball here. It's like Jim Donnan's like he's just trying to get recruits, he doesn't have Champ Bailey's playing both sides at that point. But yeah, so I think maybe that's part of it. But yeah, Charles Grant, he was a big time back in the day.
Yeah, it sounds like it, man. Well, I guess I'll talk a little bit more about Brock Bowers because that's the big number 19. When was like for you? When was the moment that you were like, "Oh shit, Brock Bowers is like something else"? Because obviously we saw it a little bit in like the his first ever game against Clemson. They threw him the ball like 6 times, and it was like, who is this guy? And then he has to play against UAB a week or so later where he just goes 75 yards. But, like, is there another play that you can think of from his freshman year where you're like, oh, my God, who's this guy?
That's a good question. What retroactively is the moment that you knew he was the real deal is when Todd Monken was asked about Eric Gilbert in the spring. and he was like, yeah, he's kind of a Brock Bowers type. And we're all like, none of us have ever seen Brock Bowers play. How do you know what his type is? So the fact that Monken already knew, like, yeah, this dude's like a real deal. Maybe Eric Gilbert could be as good as him one day. I was like, wait, what's happening now? Let me go through this game log, his freshman year, because you're right, that UAB game.
UAB like a 90
but yeah, I guess start with Clemson. The fact that this guy caught like the first 3 passes of the season,
yeah,
right? It was like that first drive. Like, are we just feeding our freshman tight end as our best player? What's happening right now?
Yes, he literally is.
But let's see. So the UAB game where he just that dead sprint, that's when you're like, he's a big time athlete. I want to say that Vanderbilt game, he got the reverse too. Like I was
gonna say that Vanderbilt play. That whole game
one that does it for you.
He scored like 3 touchdowns in that game. That was when I was like, oh wait, this guy is like different, dude. This is like a top 5 player I think I've ever seen, and sure enough, it was.
Yeah, that's when it was like, okay, so he's like gonna be a key part of our offense. We're
Mhm.
calling reverses for our tight end right now.
Yeah,
Like this
but
is and then Lad McConkey also. It's like what is happening right now? Lad McConkey and Brock Bowers, are these guys superstars?
they were.
Let me see. Looking at his game log, and I think one of those along the lines of the UAB one is that slant he caught versus Georgia Tech too. Obviously, that's much later in the year, but yeah, just splits it just for like 75 yards. Like, was just tight ends don't really move like that. Yeah, those are all good ones, but yeah, he's just. I said this at the time, and I mean, I guess he's gotten enough like love that like it's warranted that like I was kind of correct on this, but I really obviously I wanted Georgia to win a national championship in 2023, but like I wanted him to win a third championship because it was like I wonder what the talk about Brock Bowers would be. Like the best offensive player on 3 national championship teams. Like that guy would have to get some love as being like the greatest player of all time, right? If you win 3 national championships.
Yeah, dude, that would have been insane. That might have been like that would probably be the best resume of any non-quarterback in college football history, would it not be?
Yeah, I mean,
it's just like the GOAT.
Like who's won? I mean, there's probably an Alabama player that was on the 09, 11, and 12 teams, that won 3 championships. But like, was he like a go-to guy on all 3 of those teams?
That would have probably cemented him as like. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe this is crazy to say, but maybe it might have made him like the best player of all time without a Heisman.
Yeah, like with how his season was going too, his junior year, if he doesn't get hurt, obviously Georgia still could win a championship, like even with his injury, if he comes back and if they just beat Alabama and get to the playoff. But so he played in 10 games, had 56 for 714, like in 6 touchdowns. Like he obviously would have had to have way bigger numbers, but missed like 4 games and obviously would have been another game if you're in the playoff too. But yeah, I wonder what the conversation about Bowers would have been. Like I remember he's on that. I saw clips from an episode of Bussin' with the Boys where they're like, he's like, yeah, Alabama beat us twice in college, and then they kind of come to the realization that he only lost twice in college, like the whole 3 times. That one of the guys like, yeah, we lost like 6 games my freshman year or something, So if Bowers if they win 3 national championships, I think it would just have to be like a special type of legacy. But unfortunately, we'll never know. He'll just have to settle
for 2.
He'll have to settle for being the greatest tight end of all time. That's his only legacy.
Yeah, where do you think he ranks in all time Georgia players? Like he's got to be top 3, right?
Oh man, you're talking about Rushmore type stuff. It's like, I don't know that I can, like the 2 national championships is massive. Football is obviously a team sport. Like they also had a defense that had, like 9 first-round picks or something on it. So obviously that's part of it. He doesn't get all the credit. Herschel Walker is clearly the number 1 Georgia player of all time. I tend to think Champ Bailey. Like, I don't know if you want to go all the way to Frank Sinkwich or something, putting Heisman winners, but I think Champ Bailey's.
How do you compare Frank Sinkwich versus?
No, I can't. Like, there's no way Frank Sinkwich is as good as Garrison Hurst or something. But yeah, I tend to think if we're just going like the Mount Rushmore type thing, like I think you got to put Herschel Walker, Champ Bailey. I don't know. David Pollock was a 3-time All-American. Does he get in that conversation? Like those are the 3, and then Bowers is the other 3-time All-American. Like those are the 3-time All-Americans, right? And then put Champ Bailey in there. Yeah. So maybe no quarterbacks making Georgia's Mount Rushmore.
I don't think so. I mean, who's the best quarterback they've ever, like their most productive quarterbacks ever are probably Aaron Murray and Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, I think career-wise, Eric Zier put in some big numbers.
And then it's like,
but Stetson is definitely higher.
The reverse of Eric Zier would be like a Buck Bellew, where like the team was winning, but he wasn't really doing a ton of crazy stuff individually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I think I think Herschel Walker is number 1, and Brock Bowers is number 2. Maybe that's like such a new age take or whatever, but I really don't think it is. I mean,
yeah,
Brock Bowers is insane, man.
Number 2 is crazy. And it's I mean, we don't have like the stats because of just circumstances in college, but like I don't think I put Bowers ahead of Todd Gurley. Like I think Todd
Yeah,
Gurley.
he's ahead of Todd Gurley didn't accomplish everything that he could. Like,
yeah, he didn't have.
In another universe, Todd Gurley probably has a Heisman Trophy and maybe even a playoff appearance.
Like if we're good on the blacktop, like NFL Street, if we're just picking a team in the backyard, like, and I can just pick with a roster of Georgia players in their prime in college, I just don't. I have to take Todd Gurley ahead of.
Yeah, I might still take Brock Bowers.
You think so?
I still like. I get what you're saying in terms of like this guy's unstoppable. Like, just get me this guy and let me figure out the rest. But I think that's what you do with Brock Bowers. I mean, they were like you said, they were running the jet sweeps by his freshman year. As like that's not normal. That's the most NFL street type of player you can have, isn't it? Like.
No, that's true. Gurley, it's like if they're like a created player, if they're a player on a video game, like Brock Bowers is like greatness score, like his accomplishments are just significantly higher. Won 2 championships, won awards and stuff. But just like Gurley had the injury that caused him to miss like 3 or 4 games in his sophomore year. And then people just like kind of overlook how I think he like led Georgia in receiving maybe that year. Like he had like 7 or 8 receiving touchdowns.
I think he did do that.
And then his junior year misses the 4 games with the suspension and then tears the ACL after he comes back. Like dude was the best player in college football his junior year before all that happened. But if you want to win a bet with some Georgia fans out there in a bar, like to tell someone Todd Gurley only had 1,000-yard rushing season in his college career is a crazy fact.
It's crazy. I mean, and he would have probably won the Heisman in 2014, but we'll just never know. But
I think he was sitting at like
belongs up there, man, in the top 3.
Yeah, I think you have to. It's a really tough list. Like truly, what they did at Georgia, like how good he was for all 3 of his years. Like Roquan Smith doesn't have that. Like Roquan Smith is an all-time great, but he doesn't have the 3 years of being like a star. Like he's the best defensive player in college football for one of those years. But like Jalen Carter too, like has 2 years where he's kind of a backup, even though he was just a monster. But he's like the best defensive lineman maybe that's ever gone to Georgia. But he can't be on that same list. Richard Seymour just went in the Hall of Fame, right? Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of them out there. Hines Ward, we're just talking about in the Hall of Fame. So it's a tough list, but in my heart of hearts, Gurley is on there, but I think you're right. Truly, what they accomplished at Georgia. AJ Green kind of had a similar career to Gurley. Yeah. Like he knew exactly how
NCAA suspension and everything. I mean,
the 4-game suspension his junior year, missed like the 4 or 5 games his sophomore year. Like in his sophomore year, I don't know if you remember that. Like he was getting legit Heisman buzz. He had that game versus Arizona State where he like almost single-handedly won the game and blocked the field goal at the end of the game too. Like. So AJ Green was doing a lot of stuff. AJ Green was one of those dudes. I feel like he was a finished product. Yeah, and he was a finished product as a freshman when he walked into Georgia. It was insane. Yeah, I saw some podcast clip from him like I don't know, like a year ago or something, and I was like, I just realized I've never heard AJ Green talk. Like in however long I've known of him as a person, I was like, I actually this may be the first time I've heard him say words.
He plays a position that's, very prone to having loud-mouthed guys who are, very boisterous and call a lot of attention to themselves. But, like, AJ Green was, like, a top 5 receiver on the planet for, like, a decade, and he never really acted like that.
Yeah, and that's why it was just so laughable. In 2009, his maybe best highlight of his career, what should have been one of the highlights of his career, was negated. That excessive celebration against LSU, and then LSU comes back and scores. Like of all the people, like you knew the second the excessive celebration on AJ Green, what for looking into the crowd after he caught a touchdown and then getting mobbed by his teammates. Oh, the biggest trash. And then I think Georgia had to kick off like from their own
from their own 20
or own 20. Yeah, it's just such trash. AJ Green and Todd Gurley. I never really thought about how similar those dudes' careers were.
They really did have very similar trajectories. That's like, honestly, like I think Brock Bowers is like the out. Maybe I'm not. They wouldn't have won back-to-back championships, either of those guys. But in terms of individual production, I feel like Brock Bowers' career is what you get if AJ Green and Todd Gurley didn't have injuries and suspensions messing them up. Brock Bowers. is what those guys didn't get to be because he got to play the whole time, except for his.
Well, yeah, and then Bowers even had the 4. What is that? Just a requirement? You just have to have like 4 games with an ankle injury or something?
Yeah, he was. It ended up not being the worst thing for him, but like, yeah, I guess that's the. I mean, football just is like that, man. You know how much of a miracle it is if a guy never gets hurt ever.
Yeah, seriously. It seems like every all-time great Georgia's had, other than Herschel Walker. Like Nick Chubb has his years where he has a year where he misses with the injury and all that. But also Stetson, or I feel like we're having a conversation. Stetson deserves to be part of the conversation. Like 2 national championships as a quarterback.
For sure.
Where he was making plays.
No one player deserves all the credit for that. I mean, football is the ultimate team sport, but I do think that like the more time passes and with the hindsight of the legendary NFL career he's about to have, I think Brock Bowers is going to go down as like the player on those teams, if that makes sense. Like people,
he could be kind of the face of those teams.
About that team, they're going to think about Brock Bowers.
It's hard not to be Jordan Davis just because of how huge he was.
Yeah, but like Brock Bowers is one of the best players ever.
Scoring touchdowns is always sexy.
And Jordan Davis wasn't on the other team.
That's true.
So it's tough to associate him with like the whole era.
Yeah, I guess Bowers and Jalen Carter are really the only greats I think that are on both of those teams. Yeah. Like not to hate on. Oh yeah, and Stetson obviously. Because not to hate on, not to slight on anyone else, Chris Smith or Keely Ringo or something, but those guys are on a different level.
Most definitely.
But yeah, 19 days, sir. 19 this is a good one. This is a loaded number. The last bonus when I threw him in there was Sanders Cummings. He was solid corner there for a couple years. Not on level some of these other guys. All right, sir. So the first AP poll has been released for the season, and it looked very similar to the first coaches poll that was released of the season. Dogs come in at number 5. Any thoughts on this AP poll? I can read how they're different. I'm gonna go through that real quick. Texas is 1 in this one. Penn State a spot higher at number 2. Ohio State, they just switched. Their spot lower at number 3. Clemson 2 spots higher at 4, and then Georgia at 5, and Notre Dame 6. Oregon, the last one that got a first place vote at 7. What's interesting about this, top 6 teams all got a first place vote in both polls except for Notre Dame. So Notre Dame is 5 and 1, 6 and another, and they're the only team that's up there that didn't get any first place votes.
I know you don't want to base it off of just who beat who last year, but it is interesting that Georgia's 1 spot below a team that they beat by 27 in week 1, and then they're 1 spot above the team that beat them in the playoff at the end of the year.
That's true.
I don't know.
And they're 4 spots below a team they beat twice, and they're 3 spots ahead of a team that beat them in Alabama.
Yeah, looks like I guess that's why you can't play that game, because then you're just gonna point at each individual ranking and be like, well, they're here and they're here. But like, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't. I guess this list is really made with like how much production you're bringing back in mind, which. Again, I don't know. I don't know why I said that, because that's what you do with preseason rankings. But Penn State above Ohio State is very interesting because, this is the most hype Penn State has gotten going into a year. And as long as I can remember, man. So we'll see if this is the year where they decide to win a big game.
Yeah, and that's not particularly close either. Like Texas had 25 first place votes. Penn State had 23. Like that's right there. That was closer than the coaches poll was. And then Ohio State down at 11. Like it's a little bit of a drop off of how many people ranked Penn State number 1 compared to Ohio State.
Yeah, but that is interesting. I guess, Penn State returns their quarterback and their top 2 really good running backs and a lot of its defense. So I get it. But like Ohio State just won the title, and they don't have like, there's not a ton of glaring holes where Ohio State is like losing a bunch of production where you're like, okay, they don't have anything coming in, to supplement that. And so I don't know. I wouldn't put Penn State above Ohio State right now. Clemson at 4, I kind of get because I know people
before you go to Clemson, the thing I'll say about Penn State is they go 10-2 basically every year. And last year they went 11-1. So there's this idea that they had a better year last year, but they just didn't play two good teams last year. They only played one good team and they just lost them. So it's like this year again, now they're going to have two good teams with Oregon and Ohio State on their schedule. Like they just basically have lost to Ohio State and Michigan for in the near past. I'm trying to say that in recent history. There you go. In near past. in recent history, they've basically just gone unbeaten and then lose to Ohio State and Michigan. Last year they didn't play Michigan, so they only lost to Ohio State. So it's just funny how their season is perceived to be better, and then they beat SMU and they beat Boise State. It's like, okay, now they're legit. They beat SMU and Boise State. Like, okay. So it's really interesting. Like Penn State, the hype that's around Penn State. But I think you're right. I think if not this year, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when.
They have a really easy schedule this year, dude. Like it's Ohio State and Oregon, like you said, and then it's nobody. Like the third and fourth best team that they play is probably like some two of Indiana, Iowa, and Nebraska. Like they better go 11-1 this year. If they go 10-2 and they drop both games against Oregon and Ohio State, I don't even want to see them in the playoff. I'm sorry. I know the playoff is like 20 teams right now, so that's a bit harsh. But yeah, I do agree. I mean, this had better be the year for them, man. Because if it's not, then maybe we better stop crying wolf about Penn State.
Do you follow Chris Marler?
No.
I think he's Vern Funquist, I think is what he goes by on Twitter. He used to be one of those Saturday Down South guys, but I don't think he is that anymore. But he because people are always talking about these schedules, the 9 conference games versus 8 conference games, and he said Oklahoma and South Carolina will play more ranked teams in 5 weeks in a 5-week span than Michigan did in 2 years during their college football playoff runs in 2022 and 2023. It's like save the 8-game, like your 9-game conference schedule doesn't mean anything when it's okay, you have another game with Minnesota and Michigan State. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But what were you about to say about Clemson?
Oh, I think them at 4 is like justifiable because they return Cade Klubnik, who is like they might have the best returning quarterback in the whole country. But yeah, it's interesting to see them right above Georgia, considering how that game went week 1 last year. But
yeah,
I don't know. I guess they've just got more continuity on coming back on both sides of the ball than Georgia does, but we'll see, man. They've got a very weak ACC at their disposal this year, so like not a lot of excuses for them.
Yeah, and I don't think people really remember what they were a year ago either. Like I actually do believe in Cade Klubnik as opposed to Drew Aller. Like I'm just not a Drew Aller fan at all. Like I don't really get it. Like I think if he wasn't a 5-star, I don't think people would still talk about him the way they talk about him. But like Cade Klubnik's actually played well at times.
Yeah.
But even what they were a year ago, it's like I think we kind of forget they got blasted by Georgia, a Georgia team that a lot of people didn't think was very good last year. Is like worth noting. But also like they lost to Louisville and they lost to South Carolina. Like those are probably the 3 best teams they played last year. And then they played Texas close. Or they beat SMU, which is I don't know how good SMU was. They obviously were good enough to win 11 games, but like I don't know. I think the jury's still out on them too. They played Texas tough, but I don't know. I think a lot of people are looking at the like kind of have the stargazers, if you will. Like they're like almost draft board gazers at this point. They're like, I mean, they got like 5-6 first round picks on this team. They have to be one of the best teams in the country, but it could just be 5 or 6 really, really good individuals. And the team is actually not that deep. Like, I don't know. I'm curious how Clemson goes from being a 3-loss ACC team last year to being a top 5 team in the country this year.
Yeah, and I don't know enough about who they have coming back on offense, but I do know that like Peter Woods and TJ Parker are back, right? And I think like Sammy Brown is too. So like,
yeah,
they are going to have like some dogs on defense, and that coupled with the fact that they play in like just a weak conference, I think they're they have a great defense and they have a great quarterback, so it's hard to not have pretty solid expectations for that team. So like I get why people I guess feel more safe about them than they do about Georgia, because Georgia just has so many unknowns.
Yeah, and one of the few teams up here that actually does have like a known at quarterback too. No, I definitely get that. I think there's a very good chance that Clemson ends the season as the 5th ranked team in the country. You know what I mean? Like I would not be surprised at all if that happened. But are they a legit top 5 team in like a power ranking way? Like, will that remains to be seen. But yeah, I'm really curious. There seems to be a lot of hype around Clemson this year. But yeah, I mean Georgia's sitting at and just to finish out the top 10, 7, 8, 9, 10 were the same in both polls. Oregon, Alabama, LSU, and Miami. So I think Georgia sitting at 5 is about where Georgia fans want to be. Like if they were any lower than that, they'd feel disrespected. If they were higher than that, they'd be like, oh, I don't know. They only got one AP poll, one first place vote in the AP. I guess it was Brett McMurphy, right? Is he an AP voter? Because that dude picked Georgia to win it all, I'm pretty sure. So that's probably who it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything. I don't have like any crazy opinions on this list, but I think, yeah, 5 is a good spot for Georgia, I would say, in terms of just like, we know they're talented. We're just not really sure where yet.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people don't necessarily know the names of the guys that are going to be impact players, but I think we're going to have some impact players, and that's going to be our newcomer impact player, our segment later in the show. But that's going to be our main topic for tonight. But that's all I really had to say about the AP poll. It's good to see these numbers now. You know, people just kind of throw around power rankings and stuff like that. We got the polls out now. It's just nice to see that number next to your team.
It is good.
But Georgia had their first scrimmage of fall camp on Saturday. You know, you've heard some things here and there about who's played well, who looked. I guess you don't really hear much about guys who don't look good. They don't really talk. People don't really talk like that. But what were some of your takes from what you've heard from the first scrimmage?
Yeah, well, one thing I heard is that Ryan Montgomery looked really good. The quarterback, who, you know, I guess he lines up as the 3rd stringer this year. Obviously he had a torn ACL his his last year of high school, and that was a big setback for him, but he looked really good from what I've heard. I've heard Noah Thomas has been like insane in all of camp, but especially today. We've been hearing a lot of Zachariah Branch hype. Apparently he made a bunch of good plays today that should indicate that he's going to be like a full featured part of this offense going forward, if there was any doubt about how much they're going to use him. And yeah, I didn't hear a whole lot more. I heard that one thing that's been kind of concerning is that Josh McCray has not been there at all. Like I think he missed the start of fall camp with an illness, and we're not really sure what it is or how severe it is, but that'll be one thing to monitor, is like when Josh McCray comes back, is because I think when you miss practice, like you're not allowed to come back and fully practice in pads until you've practiced like 2 or 3 times just in shorts. So I think it's going to have to take him a while to, you know, get back up to speed on that. But yeah, that's what I've heard. I guess, like, yeah, you're right. You don't really hear about anyone who's just doing terribly. Like, we didn't really hear about Gunnar Stockton, but I guess if he was awful, it would have been newsworthy.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, from what you hear, it sounds like Gunnar Stockton. It's like there's always a competition, but there's no real competition. Like, he's clearly the guy and all that, and that's what you want to hear. I was gonna say the same thing. Like, it's hard to ignore. Like, one of the first updates that anybody gives about any sort of practice notes is that Zachariah Branch appears to be the real deal. And I think in this one, I heard Zion Branch had an interception in the scrimmage. So, you know, that's good for him. But yeah, some of the same candidates. I think who was it? Because someone mentioned something about I should have it more fully baked before I even said anything. But there's something about the blue helmet lids. Have you heard about that? That's like the dudes that are working the hardest in practice or something get rewarded with like a blue lid or something.
Blue Guardian cap.
And yeah, and it's like Gunner has one. I think Drew Bobo had one. And then it was I think JJ Han or JJ Hanny or something. He's like literally the second lowest ranked player in Georgia's 2025 recruiting class, defensive lineman that was wearing one of these Guardian caps. I guess he's creating a buzz. So yeah, I thought it was some interesting notes coming out of the scrimmage, but just a lot of good things to say about these Georgia playmakers. Like I think everyone seems to think is a significant upgrade at the wide receiver position from a year ago.
Yeah, for sure. I also saw that Christian Miller has been pretty crazy all camp and especially in the scrimmage. So that's good that there's sort of an alpha dog starting to step up on the defensive line because they're missing a lot of guys there. But yeah, no, this it's always good to hear the words fall camp, man. That means you're right around the corner. So it's good
for sure. And there's another. I think when we were talking our breakout players, I don't know if we've included Gabe Harris, and I think there was some people were talking about Gabe Harris looking good in the scrimmage. And Georgia's definitely gonna need him at that edge spot. Mm-hmm. But also, I think we all knew what left tackle, right tackle, left guard, and center were gonna look like. So to hear Juan Gaston, the true freshman, getting in that right guard spot, like that could also be big. So that's exciting to hear. It's just scrimmage, and I think there's 3 scrimmages, right, that they do before the first game, and I think the second scrimmage is believed to be like the most important of all.
That's what you hear. That's apparently for whatever reason the ones that the starters play the most in. Like so. I guess that's the big one. So
yeah, so that's what we got to look out for this weekend.
Yeah, we'll have to be dialed in on that one for next week.
All right, sir. This is our main event for the show tonight. The Impact, the 2025 Impact Newcomer Draft. So I think if you don't understand that title by it's kind of self-explanatory, but it. Essentially, anyone that was not on Georgia's roster in 2024 that will be on the roster in 2025. And I don't know how we're going to numerically judge this, or how we can subjectively judge this or something. But we're going to just come up with our rosters of 5 rounds of the newcomer that we think is going to make the biggest impact on Georgia's roster. And then we'll revisit it at some point, see who was right, see who was wrong. It should be a lot of fun, but I don't even think we've talked about this. Who had the first pick? So I don't know. Maybe
we never actually decided.
Being a gentleman. I don't know. Do we rock paper scissors real quick?
Yeah, let's.
I'll let you get the number 1 pick.
Okay, I get the number 1 pick. All right.
Do we snake it? Do I get the first pick of the?
I mean, like it's just us picking back and forth.
Yeah, so do I get the first pick of the second round, and then
I feel like we should
just go back and forth?
That's just easy. Maybe I'm cheating and giving myself.
Yeah, you're cheating. That's cool.
But like, I don't know. We don't have that many different guys. Do you want to snake it? Do you think we should?
Yeah, let's snake it.
Okay, all right. That's good. Well then,
I'll keep track of our rosters here on my document.
All right. Well, with my
first pick, let's go.
First pick in the newcomer draft, and I'm trying to I tried to think about this in terms of individual impact being the most important thing, like how much I think this guy's individual production will affect the team. And so, at the top of that list, I have Zachariah Branch, the transfer from USC. Now, much has been made of Zachariah Branch. Of course, we know, he was the number 1 receiver in the 2023 class, showed a lot of promise at SC. Now he's transferring alongside his brother for his junior season. So, yeah, not much. I mean, Georgia's receiving core was horrifically awful last year. It was really bad. It held the team back in a lot of areas, really just drops coming up to bite them at the worst possible times and everything like that. So what did they do? They got all their money together and went out in the transfer portal, and we got another big addition who I'm sure we'll talk about in a second, another wide receiver. But yeah, Zachariah Branch, just insane explosiveness, insane burst, a lot of upside as a punt returner too. We'll see if I have my doubts about whether or not he'll actually be the return man the whole year, because I feel like if a guy's your number one receiver, you don't want to risk him getting injured on a return play or something. But we could see him there. Either way, I expect this guy to be, a big time weapon for Georgia out of the slot, maybe the number one weapon on this entire offense. And yeah, he's my number one pick. I think he's going to be the most impactful newcomer on the whole team next year.
I like that. I think that's a logical place to go. Number one, I actually had him number 3 on my board because I think you kind of said it, because I don't think he's going to be the leading receiver.
You're going to get both your guys then.
I think I am going to get both my guys here. I think the special team is just going to be such a huge part of him as an impact player. It's like Mecole Hardman. It's like that's going to be part of why and then I think receiving wise, I think he could be like the 3rd leading receiver, but like per catch, he might be the best, kind of like Mecole Hardman was a little bit in 2018. I'm going 2018, right? That was Mecole Hardman's last year.
Yeah.
I'm going the other receiver, Noah Thomas. I actually think will lead Georgia in receiving this year. I think he's just a more, with what he did in Texas A&M last year with subpar quarterback play. I mean, maybe not subpar, but like, inconsistent quarterback play.
Weird.
With 2 different quarterbacks. I think Noah Thomas is set to have a really good year for Georgia, and it feels like Georgia needs like one big receiver like every year, like like that one guy you can just throw it up, win one-on-one matchups with, whether it's Lawrence Cager. Yeah, whether it's Lawrence Cager or a Javon Wims or an AD Mitchell or something, like a guy can just make that can make contested catches. I think Noah Thomas is that guy this year. And then I feel like I thought you were going to go either 1 or 2 guys first overall. You chose to go the offensive side of the ball, but on the defensive side of the ball, I got to go Elo Medozi as the top impact player. We know how much Georgia needed that edge rusher position, and everything you hear, and it's like, I think we all kind of made this assumption. I don't know if stereotyping is the right word, but I mean, he's literally coming from West Point, right? Like he had to do things a certain way. Like if you're going to stay eligible and be at West Point. So I think he just has the mentality that Kirby Smart wants out of his defense. And I think Elo Medozi's primed to have a big year.
Yeah, for sure. They're going to need one from him, man, because if they don't get a big year from him, there's not that many other guys on that list of edge rushers who I would say you can bet on them having a big year, just because, it's such a young group. But yeah, Elo Medozi, sick athlete, by the way, which I didn't even realize this, but he played receiver. He started playing college as a receiver, and then he moved over to defense just because he asked his coach. He felt like he could do better in that area, and now here he is playing for Georgia. So, yeah, he could be a big player. Noah Thomas also, yeah, I can totally see him leading the team in receiving. I mean, he's a different type of player from Zachariah Branch, and that, yeah, he's like the 6'6" X-receiver, boundary guy, contested catch artist, but he's a sick player. They just need – if one of those 2 guys ends up hitting and being like a big-time contributor, I'll be happy. So 2 would be amazing. At 3, I guess, we went 3 transfers with our first 3 picks. Nobody on the board who's and I'm sitting here. I have like a safe option here, and I have a home run swing, and I'm gonna go with the home run swing and say Elijah Griffin, the freshman defensive lineman. I thought about Josh McCray, but Elijah Griffin, we've gotten the Jalen Carter comparisons with him already. He's an absolute physical specimen. He moves a lot faster than somebody his size ought to be able to. And I know it's hard to sit here and set, crazy expectations for a freshman, but since this is the exercise that we're doing, and, we're saying who we think is going to make the biggest impact, I think if anyone's going to be like that insane phenom freshman for Georgia this season, I think it's going to wind up being Elijah Griffin. There's room for him to make an impact on that defensive line. There's not a ton of like veterans that are above him that are going to block him from playing if he's tearing it up. So I don't know. I don't think it's like a guarantee that he even plays that much his freshman year, but if he does, I would expect him to make an impact.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Elijah Griffin's a great pick. He was actually my highest rated freshman on my big board as well. He was actually 5th on my big board. So I was going back and forth. I think, like you said, there's a safer pick and there's like a home run pick. Elijah Griffin is definitely the home run pick. I think the safer pick, I'm gonna go with oh wait, sorry. This is your pick, isn't it?
Oh yeah, so I do get another pick. So is every pick from here on out we just each get 2 picks?
We're gonna go back to back. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's your second round pick. Sorry. So
Okay.
yeah, now you had the first pick of the third round.
Okay. Well then I'm gonna go with Josh McCray because I know that he's missed the start of fall camp and he's working through an illness or whatever it might be, and like that, that probably will affect the start of the season, how much he's able to do, just because he hasn't been practicing that much. But I just think it comes down to the fact that he's a player that Georgia didn't have the type of player that he is last year. They didn't have, a big physical bruising running back who you can trust to hand the ball to on the goal line and in short yardage situations, and he'll just plow forward for 2 really tough yards. They had, Trevor Etienne last year as a physical back, but he's 5'7", 190. He can't be that physical when you have those limitations in terms of size. Same thing with Nate Frazier. So Rod Robinson, we don't really know. They say that he's healthy right now, and I would love to believe that, but it's just like the track record of injury history that he does have, leaves me to be a little cautious about how much we'll be able to see from him. So I think Josh McCray is perfectly in line to be that next bruising running back. He only had 110 carries last year for Illinois, and 10 of them were touchdowns. He just has a knack for finding the end zone, and he's a big bruising running back that I think a lot of Georgia fans are going to love watching him run. I'm super excited about this guy. I'm glad I got him with the 5th pick.
Yeah, I can't hate on Josh McCray at that. I think the practice thing did worry me a little bit. Like, if he's not practicing right now, is he ready to be in the lineup game 1? Like, do we see like an AD Mitchell or something his junior year? Like, he just had that injury, kind of just lingered for 4, 5, 6 weeks. He played in the first game, then played in the 4th game for a play or something. It was just kind of weird. And I think because Kirby Smart just seems like that kind of principled coach that's like, you're not practicing, you're not playing. There's no exceptions for anybody like that. So I worry about if Josh McCray is kind of slow to make an impact this year. Maybe by this time the season comes around, he's fine, and hopefully that's the case.
I kind of think he's not going to start really contributing until the SEC schedule gets rolling. But that's when you need him the most anyway. So.
Yeah, but Trevor Etienne was super physical for your elusive back, but exactly. He's not necessarily that guy that needs to be your short yardage guy.
Yeah, you can only be as big as you are, man.
For sure. And so that's your 3rd round pick. So I wasn't sure where to go with McCray. That's a solid pick. This is actually the guy that I had 4th on my board, ahead of Elijah Griffin, who I felt like was the safer pick. And it might not be. It might just be a mystery box here, and I picked the wrong one. But another guy we actually didn't mention from the scrimmage is Adrian Maddox. I think has been getting some buzz in practice, and maybe I'm picking the wrong one here because Georgia took 3 transfer safeties, and I feel confident one of them is going to start. Like Ja'Cory Harris, you haven't heard anything bad about him. Like, maybe he's the guy that's starting game 1, but it feels to me, just reading the tea leaves, you brought in 3 transfers for a reason. You really had a need at this position. And Adrian Maddox, he feels like the one that's gonna crack the starting lineup to me. So that might not be as safe as I thought it was. Being now I'm talking it out loud because there's 2 other guys that could potentially start in his spot. But give me Adrian Maddox in the 3rd round.
Yeah, he might play star, which is interesting. I don't know if you saw that, but they've been playing him there, and I know you're a big Janelle Aguero guy, me not as much, and so if Janelle Aguero isn't where he needs to be at some point in the year, we could totally see Adrian Maddox start there.
Yeah,
he's definitely, I think he's the most experienced player of those three guys. So he definitely has that working for him too. So I think that's a pretty good pick. I would say of the three safeties that transferred in, he's probably the safest one to make an impact. I have the next pick.
Or hold on.
Wait, no, you don't. You don't have the next pick.
Yeah, I have the next pick. But yeah, I think you're right. Like they always say, the best ability is availability, and Jonel Aguero has not had that in his first 2 years on campus. So there's reason to think that spot could be up for grabs. So yeah, now I'm the first pick of the fourth round.
Yeah.
Let me go with my first freshman from this team. I'm gonna go with the offensive line. Go Juan Gaston on the O line. I think he's gonna be our right guard all year if he stays healthy, of course. But yeah, I think Juan Gaston. And I feel like I've seen, this is just anecdotal, I could be completely off on this. It feels like I remembered other teams having like big time offensive tackles that like, oh, you can play guard for a year because we have this upperclassman that's going to be a big time pick, and then you move to tackle or something. It feels like I remember Alabama doing that a few times. So I don't know if Juan Gaston is permanently a guard or if it's a matter of we got to get our best 5 out there and he's one of them. And then when Ernest Green and Monroe Freeling move on, maybe he is a tackle in the future. But I'm the fact that Juan Gaston's already creating a little bit of a buzz and running with the ones in the first scrimmage. I like his chances to be our the starting right guard this year.
Yeah, do you think he'd start over Calhoun?
I mean, he did in the scrimmage, the most recent one. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's given. I think Michael Uini was actually second string at guard.
What's Uini? I kind of thought
Uini. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right.
Is it Ulini?
I think it's just UINI.
Okay, yeah, let me see. Either way, I thought he would. Yeah, it's Michael Uini. Okay. I kind of thought Uini would be more likely to start than Gaston, but if Gaston just started the fall camp scrimmage, then that's a pretty big tell, is it not? All right, so
yeah, I think so.
I've got this is my fourth pick. Let's see. I've got my last 2 picks here, so I'll try to go with. Let's see. Looking at my board here. Okay, I do have someone. I'm gonna go with another offensive player. This time a freshman. I think I know where you're going here. A position where a couple different Georgia likes to use a bunch of different guys at this position. I'm going to go with CJ Wiley, the wide receiver.
Ooh.
CJ
Wiley is not where I thought you were going. Go ahead.
I feel like, you have Noah Thomas and Zachariah Branch, who are your clear starters, or your clear new addition starters, I would say. And then you have Dylan Bell, who's going to probably lock up, or no, it won't be Dylan Bell. It'll be Colby Young at one of those spots, maybe Dylan Bell at the Z, and then Noah Thomas. I don't know. I'm not sure how it all work out. But my point is there's probably going to be about 6 different receivers who end up being the rotation this year. And one of those young guys has to be in it. And I think it will be CJ Wiley. I just like the guy a lot. He's just a sick athlete, really good high pointing the ball, really great just jumper, contested catch ability is off the charts. It's really there. He had a sick catch on G-Day. One of these guys, man, I'm feeling the breakout with one of them. It might be Taylon Taylor. It might be somebody else. It might even be like London Humphreys for all we know. But I really like the kind of player that CJ Wiley is. Just 6'4", jump up and get it type of guy. Similar player to Noah Thomas. I think he could have a pretty big year this year.
That surprises me. I was expecting you to go Taylon Taylor if you were going to go the receiver. So to go CJ Wiley, that's interesting.
It was just a personal thing. I don't know. I know Taylon Taylor's the more high ranked recruit and everything, but CJ Wiley, man, there's just something about him for me. I like the guy. And I guess for my last pick, I'll go with another 5-star freshman on the defensive line, being Isaiah Gibson. Now just kind of a positional need pick was my thinking there. There's a lot of room for guys to make an impact on the edge. We just talked about Mendoza. We both think he's going to have a pretty big year. We think he needs to have a big year. Gabe Harris is another guy that they're going to need big things out of. But then beyond those two guys, it's, Quintavious Johnson, I guess, figures as the number 3 guy behind those two. And then you have, 3 true freshmen spearheaded by Isaiah Gibson, the 5-star. And, edge, I feel like, is a position where, like, physical maturity is very important. So maybe he's just not far along enough yet to play as a freshman in the SEC. But if he does, I think there's enough just physical talent there. I mean, the raw upside that Isaiah Gibson has is insane. So, I mean, I picked him last out of everyone. So, like, obviously I'm not saying that I think he's going to come in here and just, like, be electric off the bat. But I think there's a chance that, Georgia pass rush gets a bit of juice from Isaiah Gibson because they need it from somewhere, man. Lord knows.
Yeah, that's a good call. He was on my board. I wasn't sure. I'm not sure what his impact is year one. But maybe the need, like you said, at that edge spot, he was like, he's listed at like 250 or 260. Yeah, so it's not like this dude is like small or anything. He needs to pack on weight like a Chase Linton or something like that. It was a little more slim coming out of high school. So you not picking Taylor really it threw off my board here because I wasn't expecting Taylor and this other guy to both be on the board at my final spot, at my final pick. So I'm looking at the wide receiver position versus the running back position. Like wide receiver, where's CJ Wiley or Taylor gonna rank? Like 5th, 6th?
Yeah, that's kind of what you have to do.
Yeah, because we're looking at what it's probably Noah Thomas, Colby Young, Zachariah Branch, Dylan Bell. I'd say those are confidently your top 4. So maybe one of those freshmen gets into like that, but I mean maybe not. Maybe it's Sokovie White or London Humphrey or something. I think the running back position feels more open. For one, we don't know if Nate Frazier can be a workhorse. Josh McCray missing some practice right now has me a little wondering a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Bo Walker with my final. I'm shocked that you passed on a guy named Bo, but I think I got to go with Bo Walker at that 10 spot. I think what they've talked about. I lost my numbers over here, but what they've talked about and this is without Josh McCray being healthy, but I think they said in the most recent pecking order in the running back spot in practice or in the scrimmage was Frazier, Bo Walker, and Cash Jones. So it's like if Bo Walker is already getting into that, into that top group, like that's pretty big time, and he could make an impact as a freshman.
Yeah, if that's true, then absolutely. I mean, I imagine he's probably picked up a lot of the slack from McCray, Ben, him, and Robinson. I mean, he's not as big of a back as Roderick Robinson is, but like, I imagine he'd be next in line. I mean, you don't want to put too much stock into these kinds of things, but he did look pretty damn good on the spring game. Like, it's not. I mean, I'm never gonna sit here and say it's impossible for.
You're talking about who?
Bo Walker.
Okay,
he looked pretty good in the spring game, and like, it's. Georgia sometimes has freshmen come in at running back and tear it up. So, yeah, now that I think about it, running back probably is a bit more open of a position to come in and, like, have an impact day one than wide receiver is. Maybe I was just too blinded by the CJ Wiley one-handed catch that I saw on GA.
Hey, the heart wants what it wants.
I know. That's why I'm sticking by it. But, yeah, Bo Walker could easily crack this running back rotation. I mean, he will get some carries, I would imagine. I'd be shocked if he just doesn't play at all. They got Bowens and Phillips on the field a decent bit last year, in addition to, of course, Frazier. So, yeah, I like Bo Walker. I think he's a really cool player. I hope if not this year, I hope at some point he develops into a strong contributor for this Georgia team.
So I wish I had a fancy graphic here to share stack our teams here, but let's see. I'm sitting here with Noah Thomas, Elo Mendoza, Adrian Maddox, Juan Gaston, and Bo Walker. All right.
Okay.
I'll write these down somewhere.
Yeah. So
and you have Zachariah Branch, Elijah Griffin, Josh McCray, CJ Wiley, and Isaiah Gibson.
Okay. I think you probably got you definitely got the more like normal, better list than mine. If I have some freshmen turn out to be insane, then I win. But I think you got the better list.
Yeah, I think you took some home run shots. I think Elijah Griffin and Isaiah Gibson, the two highest ranked players in the 2025 class, like they could easily both be superstars. But I don't know. I'm always like more partial to true freshmen on offense making an impact than true freshmen on defense. We just saw Malachi Starks. We saw KJ Bolden make impacts as true freshmen. So obviously those guys can do it too. A guy we didn't the honorable mention that we didn't have on here. I have Zion Branch, Taylor Taylor listed, Elias Williams, Josh Horton, the Miami transfer. So I wasn't really sure how to rank some of those. Elias Williams, it feels like another like that position just feels too deep. That's another guy we didn't mention. Jaden Riddell was creating some buzz in the scrimmage.
He's a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in terms of guys in the scrimmage. But yeah, Isaiah Gibson might be like fourth at that position or something because it's just a loaded room.
Yeah, Zion Branch could also make us both look silly and have a crazy year.
Yeah, Zion Branch could start all 12 games for all we know right now. And Adrian Maddox, and I always blank on the Miami dude, the Miami defensive back is Jaden Harris. I always blank on him. He's definitely feels like the third in the pecking order in terms of who's talked about the most. I don't know if he's truly third in order there or anything, but yeah, I think that's this was a fun exercise.
Yeah,
we'll have to do things like this some more.
Yeah, we will. When the season's I guess we'll do one more next week we'll do some sort of draft, and then by then it'll be time for the real thing.
Absolutely, man. We are 19 days till the college football season starts. Oh, we got a couple comments here. Let's before we close out, let's we got Josh Skelton chiming in on the chat. Josh, I appreciate you watching live. Griffin gonna play a lot. He's got a picture. What does that look? Maybe Sony Michelle. Maybe he's got a picture in there.
Mannequin.
Oh, is that a mannequin?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, is that Sony Michelle? Ellis Robinson? George Pickens? Who is that?
It's Devod Wilson.
Devod Wilson. That's a name drop right there. The forgotten number one. And Josh chimed in again here. Sounds like Taylor already standing. Oh, I think it's his first comment. I don't know if I read it. Griffin going to play a lot. Sounds like Taylor already standing out. And then the last one here with Rob, Frazier, McCray, and now Bowen's looking good. I don't know if we see Bo Walker, but he's been standing out, it sounds like. Yeah, the running back room is crowded, but it's crowded with a bunch of guys that are unproven, I think. I think that's what the receiver room at least seems like it's crowded with guys are pretty good players.
Running back, it's just like, some of us are good.
Exactly. And so Nate Frazier, I think Nate Frazier, maybe he's not underrated. I think he's on the Doak Walker watch list. I don't know what people have him in preseason, but I don't think any Georgia fans are throwing Nate Frazier into the RBU conversation. We're not throwing him the Todd Gurley's and the Jandre Swifts. It's like this guy was a 5-star running back, played year one, and also he was not an early enrollee. And I think a guy who's not an early enrollee that gets on the field immediately, that guy's going to get a lot better from year one to year two. And I think we're kind of talking about Nate Frazier like he's a finished product after his freshman year. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he's got that high upside of a James Cook or something. I don't know. Just name your big-time Georgia running back. But I think Nate Frazier might be getting a little slept on this offseason in terms of he has big-time potential. It wouldn't shock you if this guy came out and ran for 1,200 yards or something this year.
I think it's more just we move past him really quickly when we're discussing the running back room because we know that he's going to be the starter. So it's just more interesting to talk about who might be the guys behind him. But he's going to be the clear starter at running back. I mean, I think also like we're less excited about him than we maybe might be because he had that great run against Clemson week 1, and then he didn't really show any like big home run breakaway plays the rest of the season, so the hype just kind of disappeared. But like he ended up leading the team in rushing. Like he had a good freshman year. If he wasn't, it might not have been Nick Chubb in 2014 caliber or anything like that, but it was a very good freshman season from a running game that was like just very turbulent the whole year. So yeah, I think he'll definitely be like, I'm not expecting him to be, an All-America caliber running back or anything, but I mean, Nate Frazier's a really good player, got a lot of explosiveness, a lot of quickness. And yeah, I'm with you, man. I think he will be taking a jump year 2.
But I think I basically feel the same way you do. And so maybe I'm talking to myself more than talking to other Georgia fans, but I kind of feel the same way you do. But would it be a shock, like in terms of a 5-star running back becoming an All-American? Like I don't put him there, but it's like he very well could become that.
Yeah.
Like, and it shouldn't surprise anybody. But yeah, like you said, kind of how his season went, that Kentucky game that was early, where he had made an impact against Clemson, and we're not doing anything against Kentucky, and he just doesn't play. Like, it's very weird. And then you hear he's fumbling in practice, and then you saw some of the fumbles in some games, and if not for Arian Smith for covering that fumble against Texas, who knows how the SEC championship game turns out. But it was but he's flashed the ability. So the running back room, it's definitely, it's one of the more intriguing positions in the entire conference this year because of what Georgia typically does in the running game. Like if they're one of the worst run games in the SEC again, it probably says a lot about other things about how the conference is shaking out.
Yeah, I'm way more excited about the running back room this year than a couple years ago when it was like Dejan Edwards and Kendall Milton going in the year are our 2 like main starters, and like those guys were good players, but I think the upside is way higher with this group than it's been.
That's what's kind of weird is that I agree with you completely, and then you look up and it's like, and that's 2023. You look up and they had their 25th, 30th ranked in running game in the country. It's like they were really good, but 2 guys over like 800, 900 yards or something. And in last year we're 102nd in the country. Like it's never been that bad at Georgia essentially. So it's I don't know. Maybe we're taking for granted the Dejan Edwards and Kendall Milton years.
I think we probably are. We're just spoiled RBU fans. That's
exactly. Kenny McIntosh, also an underrated in the RBU legacy. How versatile he was. But
I think he tore an ACL the other day. I was sad about that.
Oh, he tore an ACL?
I think he did.
I was a little surprised he dropped out of the 7th round. I thought he would. I don't know. Maybe I think higher of Georgia players, but Kenny McIntosh, solid player. Josh Skelton also put an end to the mystery here. It's a pick from the bookstore. So it is not Sony Michel, but it's got the same number, same face mask. I was wrong. Don't bash me in the comments. So all right, sir. That is all I have for this edition of the show. If I was trying to find the thing we're supposed to do here at the end. I don't know if I can find it. Can you find it? This is great show right now. We'll play it next.
Technology.
Well, I don't know where it went. I swear I saw the clip and I was about to play it. Here it is. Sorry. Terrible radio. That's all I have for today's show, sir. We'll talk to you next time. As always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Gamble.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.